As part of the ordinance that the council approved in order for us to do the bond refunding, one of the requirements was for me to come back at the earliest reasonable time to inform the council on whether we were or were not able to stay within the parameters that were set in the ordinance. I won't spend a lot of time on this. We've been over this, but pre-bond sale, just some of the key considerations that we went through is that we wanted to issue the bonds prior to the November elections to hopefully achieve a higher savings due to lower rates. Historically, rates rise after the election. We began this process in early August when rates were at their all-time low, and from that period forward, they slowly crept up the scale. And as early as October, we were estimating about a $2.3 million savings over the life of the bonds. Some of the things that we did is we approved the use of bond insurance to help with rates and savings. So that went into the process. We also provided $239,000 in debt reserves for the Department of Ecology loans to buy down the refunding principal. And so those were by contract reserves that we had to have on our books to back the debt payments. And so we went ahead and added those and into the refunding to, again, buy down the principal amount. And then we've contracted with US Bank to make payoff payments on the refunded bonds. They know what they're doing. They're very professional about it, and it didn't cost us very much. And they'll make sure that the bond revenues get to the proper person, proper place at the proper time. So the bond sale itself, it took place on October 14th as scheduled, and it was highly successful. In total, we were about 3 times oversubscribed. And what that means is there were more people that wanted to buy our bonds than we had available. And as a result, it allowed our underwriters and financial advisors to make some alterations to maximize savings. And that's what we were able to do. We were able to increase rates on some of the bonds and some of the maturities that weren't selling well, and we were able to decrease rates on those that were oversubscribed. So all in all, very successful. Total savings is about $3,050,000. And on all of the bonds, we were able to move the longer maturities from 2052 to 2047. So we're able to shave a lot of time off the debt repayment as well. So that was another nice happening there. Officially, the bond process will close on the 28th. So the sale parameters report. We had to ensure that the aggregate principal amount of the refunded bonds cannot exceed $10 million. That's true. The refunded bonds par amount is $8,860,000. So that's the amount that will go against the LTGO Councilmatic bond that we've discussed prior. The final maturity of the bonds cannot extend beyond 2052. It's now at 2047, so we checked that box. The aggregate purchase price of the bonds cannot be less than 95% or greater than 135% of the aggregate stated principal. The aggregate purchase price is 106.7%, so we stayed within that parameter. The true interest cost of the bonds cannot exceed 4%. We are at 2.14% there, and the bonds are sold for a price that results in a net present value savings of at least 3%, and we were able to save 18.43%. So we were able to stay within all of our parameters. Again, just to kind of wrap up, very successful bond process. And sale, nice to have the A+ rating affirmed by Standard & Poor's. It's also with a stable outlook. The savings on the bond was higher than expected. That's always a nice surprise. And we were able to shave those 5 years off of our debt service. And just want to recognize again the team of Justin Monway. He's our financial advisor at Piper Sandler. Deanna Gregory is our bond counsel at Pacifica, and Caitlin Caldwell is our underwriter at KeyBank Capital Markets. And then I also want to just recognize all of the work that Terry did, our own Terry Schnitzer, in order to prepare the information for the official statement. So really successful process, and glad that we were able to go through it. So unless there's questions, I just wanted to provide that updated report.